Hello there and welcome. Joe Valenzuela with Vista Mutual Insurance Services. Let's talk about your rights as a Medicare recipient when it comes to marketing to you. Okay. Now, there's a lot of complexities when we talk about the regulations and things that we must do as agents for you, the consumer, to be protected. Because if you didn't know, once you turn 65 and become a Medicare recipient, you are a protected class of citizen. When marketing Medicare products to you, there are a lot of rules that agents should be following. This is just a little bit of a guide for you to know that if you're dealing with someone that's not following these rules, they might not be that great of an agent because they should be informed about these. These industry standards come out. They have to be tested on these types of things. Some know about them, some don't when they really should, and some just choose to actually violate them. So let's talk about how you are protected as a consumer. The first thing is that you are, because these things are so complex, they put some rules in place to ensure that you don't get confused. Now, some of these rules go a little bit too far, but they're all in place for a good reason. So we'll go by all of the rules that they set out for us. So we abide by all of the regulations. So the main thing here is that you have control over when you can be contacted, okay? If you have not given your express permission for someone to contact you, and it's not noted on that how they're going to contact you, meaning text message, electronic mail, email, regular mail, or a phone call, things like that, then they should not be contacting you, except for there are two caveats to this. You can still always get direct mail. There are no regulations on this. We can send out direct mail to you as much as you want to see if you will call us back. And we can also send out emails, but they do have to have the ability to opt out of the emails in every single email that we send. So if you're not getting direct mail or email and somebody's contacting you via text message or phone call and you didn't ask for that, then they are not abiding by these regulations. Now, sometimes it can be hard to realize whether or not you gave your information. If you're browsing on a website and it says, put your information here to get to the next portion or get more info about Medicare, just make sure you're reading those carefully because they have to say that a licensed agent is going to be contacting you if that's the purpose of getting their information. Once you put it in there, it's fair game. Now you've given them permission to contact you and they can. So just be kind of weary or just read everything before you put your information in, or just know that if you're going to give your information on a website or fill out a form when you're at a meeting, that is you giving your permission for that person to contact you, okay? Unless they did that, they should not be calling you. They should not be text messaging you, okay? And you can report them if they do to Medicare or the Department of Insurance. There are regulatory bodies that can hand out fines, take our licenses away, remove commission, all that kind of stuff. Now, the other thing about this is that you're receiving a phone call, even if you've given permission to get that phone call, these phone calls should be recorded. The only thing that doesn't have to be recorded now going into 2024 is when we set up the appointment. Now, the SOA still has to be recorded or documented 48 hours beforehand. This is a new rule now. You have to get the SOA 48 hours beforehand. So if they're not doing that, you know that they may not be fully within the regulations. The caveat to that is if they call into you, then you do not have to wait that 48 hours. You can talk about insurance right there after taking the SOA. Now, the conversations have to be recorded. That anything in the chain of enrollment must be recorded. And they have to tell you that they're recording the call, and you have to agree to that. If you do not agree to or consent to be recorded, then we must end the conversation with you. Now, this is a little odd because some people may not agree but still need the information. What I do with them is just set up an in-home appointment so that we can go and discuss things and they don't have to be recorded. Some people don't want to be. Now, during this recording, there's also a disclaimer that must be stated within the first 60 seconds of a phone call. And that's right. No matter if you have stuff that's going on in the beginning of the call, recordings, anything like that, it has to be stated within the first 60 seconds of an inbound or outbound call. And this disclaimer basically tells the clients that we don't offer every plan available in their area. And even if we do, we have to tell them that we do offer every plan, But if you'd like to see your options by yourself, you can go to Medicare itself. Seems a little weird, but they just want to make sure that you're not getting, inaccurate information or think that there's only this number of plans available when there's not. They've added a new caveat to that disclaimer as well, is that in the past or last year, we just had to say that we don't represent all products. Now we have to say how many companies and how many plans underneath those companies that we represent. This can be a little bit difficult because it's different per county and per area that we're representing. So we're still seeking some clarification on that, but there should be something in that disclaimer that tells you how many companies and how many products that agent represents or that agency. Now, once you've gotten into your appointment, if all the other requirements are done, they've sent you permission to contact, then they contacted you, then they gave you a scope of appointment 48 hours to coming to your appointment, there's something very important that we need to do at that appointment. And if you're finding that this is not happening, then you may have yourself an agent that doesn't follow the regulations. We need to go over a pre-enrollment checklist with you to make sure that you understand everything that we're going to talk about. We need to then disclose every benefit to you and answer all of your questions, including going over your medications, if you'd like us to. It's not a requirement, but if you'd like us to. Some people want to keep that as their private health information, and you can. Going over all the providers that you want to see, making sure that within the network or telling you that you cannot see these particular providers, going over all the facilities that you use, going line by line through the summary of benefits to show you exactly what every copayment, coinsurance, and your medication costs will be. If they're not doing that for you, if they're just sitting down with you and maybe answering a few questions that you have and then asking you to enroll, they may not be educated enough to even provide you with this information, right? It's full disclosure. We have to go over everything. There may be some things about the plan that you're presenting that don't sound that great. It may have a higher maximum out of pocket than their current plan. It may have higher costs. Again, we need to just disclose all this information so that there's no trickery. There's no, if you look over here a little bit, there's none of that. We're going to show you line by line and show you, yes, this one does have a higher maximum out of pocket, but, not many people hit their maximum out of pocket. Also, it has lower copayments in every category that we know that you're going to hit. So it's my recommendation that this plan still seems more suited for you. But if they don't go with it, that's fine. And also sometimes that's not the case. We'll sit down, we'll go over plans, and our option is not the most beneficial for you. Maybe the one that you have is. And if that's the case, then that's what we will tell you. As agents of Vista Mutual Insurance Services, we have the highest ethical standards. We will walk away from business if it doesn't make sense for you. And this is done for a number of reasons. One, because we're ethical and we're not going to put somebody in a situation that's going to harm them in any way. Another is because this is a great referral source. How much does that person trust you after you told them as the salesperson not to go with your product? That the product they have is more beneficial for them. They're going to tell everybody they know about you, and they're going to know that you're honest and trustworthy. So do the right thing, and the right thing will always come back to you in the form of new business. It's incredibly important that you understand these rights so that you can make a good determination about what agent that you're going to use going forward. If they're violating all of these rules that you didn't even know about, well, now you know, and you can make an informed decision to get a better agent. If you'd like help with any of these questions, any of these regulations, or your insurance in general, reach out to Vista Mutual Insurance Services. We'd also like you to follow us, like this video, and comment below with any comments or questions, and we'll answer those for you. For Vista Mutual Insurance Services, this is Joe Valenzuela. Until next time.